Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sober Swole podcast. My name is Jake Howard, and along with me, until Paul maybe shows up, is the Grand Chameleon himself, DJ Swirl.
What's going on, guys and gals?
Before we get rocking and rolling, oh, no, my bad.
We're good.
Before we get rocking, so confused, Paul's not here.
He's here.
No,
He's not
before we
here.
get, he's in spirit.
In spirit.
But before we get started, I'd like to give a shout out to Gorilla Gains. That's gorilla-gains with a Z.com. They are an apparel company that you can wear comfortably in and out of the gym, and while you're working on your gorilla muscle type of gains. They also make great equipment that helps keep you safe while you train. We're talking elbow sleeves, knee sleeves, wrist wraps, wrist straps, and lifting belts. Use the discount code JAKE15 to save you 50% on your entire order. While we're at it, I'll give a shout out to royaltynutrition.com. To help me along with that is Warhorse.
Hey, it's Warhorse. Do you want your workouts to look like this? Or do you want your workouts to slay? When Warhorse picks his pre-workout, he wants it to slay. If you want second place, go with somebody else. If you want to be a champion, go with Royalty Nutrition.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Royalty Nutrition is a supplement company that doesn't automatically go with the cheapest ingredient in their formulations, and they do not make any fake promises. They just make you promises that help you get to your fitness goals. Check them out and use the discount code 37HAKE to save you 15% on your entire order. As we're rocking and rolling and getting gabbing, another one I'd like to give a shout out to is the FitOps Foundation. That's fitops.org. Check them out. They are a not-for-profit organization that helps veterans rediscover their purpose after their active duty military service through not just becoming a certified personal trainer, but a highly qualified personal trainer with the title of Certified Veteran Fitness Operative. They also help teach you the life skills you need to cope with the civilian world that you are just now getting back into, or you've been in for a while and still having a rough time. If you're looking for a great not-for-profit to donate to, go to fitops.org/donate. I guess I'm going to hit this one up there too, eh? How about Buy to Buy? Buy to Buy Studios. If you are a streamer, a podcaster, and you are looking for some excellent professional assistance on getting your content out into the world, check them out. You can follow them on Instagram at Buy to Buy Studios. Once again, if you're seeing this on YouTube, please follow us on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Buy to Buy Studios. And if you aren't following us on YouTube and you came from Twitch, well, what the hell are you doing? Sober Swole Pod on YouTube. Subscribe and hit that ding bell. Leave us a comment. Tell us how we're doing. Or, say some fucked up shit. Whatever makes you happy. How's your week been, man?
Oh man, it's been good. Last week was something else. I went to Kingman, knocked out a job, did 2 stacks, blah 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 blah. It was good. The wife and I made time for a date night, and we wound up going to Simply Smashing, which is a rage room in Tempe.
Okay.
It's one of those rooms they lock you in with a sledgehammer, a couple of bats. They got like a tray full of glasses and bottles and stuff, and you just go in there, and they have a chalkboard, and so you can write the stuff that's bothering you out, blah blah blah. It was an experience. I feel like talking is the more productive way to do that, and I'm sure that this helps us to get to that point, to talk about some things that we may not be able to, or we feel that we can't. But I mean, as far as just having a good time and breaking shit, yeah, it's fun. And then like there's a wall that has a bunch of, they give you a Sharpie and they say leave a message on the wall. And so there's a lot of stuff that people are just in there being petty or whatever. And there's some stuff in there that's like sad. So it was just kind of like in between hit because we were taking turns. So I look at the wall and I'm just like, there's one that was like, I lost my entire family because of my husband. I'm just like, God damn! Like again, so real therapy is probably in line, um, but they use the rage room, and so they have like a little Bluetooth speaker you can hook up and play music. So we started off Rage Against the Machine, Bulls on Parade. That was the first song that we started with.
Hell yeah.
Um, and then for the people outside, we thought it'd be hilarious if they heard some R&B music. So we played uh, Usher or Genuine. We played In Those Jeans by Genuine, and we're breaking shit. Like it was funny. But yeah, it was a unique experience. Not sure I'll do it again, but I mean, if you've never done it and breaking shit is your way to release your pressure valve, go for it.
See, for me, I think that would be wonderful because back in my younger and more rambunctious days, breaking shit was like my favorite.
Sure.
Um,
I mean, I like to blow shit up. Like, I have fun during Fourth of
yes.
July and stuff like that. Like, no doubt. But um, I didn't feel a release of anger, if that makes any
All
sense.
right.
So, like,
Yeah.
if I'm gonna take something and purposely break it, I'm going to expect there's a release to have happen when that goes down. This was just like having a good time, and so I'm taking care of it. So I'm using my phone tonight
Sorry.
for the camera, and so I don't think I can take my cell service off, or I guess I could take my cell service off either way. But you're gonna see little
You probably could,
notifications.
but
Yeah.
I was just excited that my you were mentioning in a tweet by Ligma variant
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be funny, dude, until people start dying from it. Then they're gonna be like,
from the Ligma variant. It
yeah,
doesn't exist,
yeah. No, I'm saying.
dude.
So, like, do you know who Quentin Quarantino is?
No.
Quentin Quarantino is some guy on Instagram who started up this page on Instagram, and people started following him because they thought it was actually Quentin Tarantino,
Uh huh.
and which is easy to confuse because the name it's a great play on his name, and the way that
Mm-hmm.
it's spelled, and with everything with being, and he did it during when we were on lockdown, and so he used the attention that he got from it to then start going after causes or supporting causes that he liked. So one of the big ones that he did was when Rush Limbaugh passed. He
Mm-hmm.
uh, made a post, and then everybody who donated in his honor, it would go. He started something that would go toward Planned Parenthood, and so like after the first 24 hours, he surprisingly raised like 30 grand. And so it just started, and so then so he's getting all these flack from people on the right as well, and so it's just
Mm-hmm.
feeding into the frenzy. I think they wound up raising like $150,000 in Rush Limbaugh's name, as post it was so, and they did it in Rush Limbaugh's name. So Rush Limbaugh posthumously donated to Planned Parenthood, and so
Was it?
the actual Quentin Tarantino has
Or,
now been asked because it's gotten popular enough, and so he's like, yeah. And so now Quentin Tarantino follows him.
Mhm.
So it's and there's still people that hit him up, and they're like, I used to love your movies, but you're too political now. Unfollow. Like he still gets stuff like that all the time, and he's like, all right, man, thanks. So yeah, it's pretty great.
I've made so many great films. Was well, that's
So Ligma
I
is
saw
not one of the things yet.
no. Have you ever you ever heard the oh man, I got ligma on my hand, and you would say, "What's ligma?"
Never.
Okay, so oh, I've got ligma on my hand. You'd say,
Ligma what? Oh, lick my balls. Sure.
Lick my
Right.
balls.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. No. So it is a COVID pun in the essence of D's nuts. I
Yes,
I like it more now. Now that I know what it means, I didn't
that's
know. I thought it was just like so.
that's
You said Ligma variant. Obviously, that's playing off of
yeah.
everything that's going, all the mutations. So
Hmm.
bravo. But yeah, I had no idea that it hadn't got to that point. Are we still at Delta?
No, well, so
What's the next
they had
one? What's the next
announced
letter for the
Lambda,
lambda?
Lambda.
Okay, okay, that's the one I've heard of.
They're yeah, but they've already. I haven't been able to confirm it, but somebody sent me a screenshot from some website with variant list names and
Yeah.
supposedly when they're going to hit. And so I haven't like done my independent looking into it because at this point it is what it is. But it's there's it's going to be something, and I'm not saying COVID is the flu. I'm going to get this out of the way, but it's going to be one of those things where um, there's going to be a variant of this or two every year forever now. Like
Okay, so let's say that's the case.
that's
So
it has become human transmissible, and that's what it's going to do forever.
okay, I don't have
You know,
I don't have an issue with that being a reality. So if that's the reality that happens, when are we going? When do you see us normalizing mask use so that way we can control it? Because if that's the case and it's transmissible, the easiest way to contain it is social distancing and wearing masks, right? So I'm not
yeah,
even talking about vaccinations. Let's just shelve that. So if you're actually going to try and curb it, knowing that it's going to be around, that a new mutation will be around twice a year, if wearing masks all the time becomes normalized, how fast, how quickly do new variants spawn up? Because the amount of the amount of them available will dwindle down, and so we'll reach whatever that means in terms of immunity. Correct, because we'll have enough control over it. Because so if we take a different vaccination that's required for kids to go to school now, and we apply it to COVID, what's different?
my whole thing now, and this may be just like the little bit of doom in me, but from what I've seen and how I look and see, is I think that there's going to be a variant of this probably forever,
I understand that.
and there's so like
So the answer is no,
if
never.
anything, there's never. No, if anything, it should just be. We should study it, and it should be.
No, let me. So again, we're
Uh,
talking specific to the reality that you created. You said that there's going to be a
mhm.
variant around, and so I'm simply identifying the solution that's present, and I ask if simply normalizing mask use will allow us to circumvent your reality, to prevent it from happening, or at least shorten the time that happens, and then we just say, okay, guys, let's collectively, like we are the world, or hands across America. We agree to touch everybody's hands all along a chain, and that it stretches across America. Awesome. We can do that in solidarity. Can we all wear a mask?
I think everything because everything is so hyper politicized right now. It
Talking
has
about the
been. It's been
hypothetical
working this way.
situation that you presented to me, sir. That's all I'm talking about.
I
I'm not
know, but
talking about now. I'm
I
not talking about everything you've seen. I'm asking you if
well,
that's
so I'm saying,
that's the
I'm
solution.
saying, I'm saying, in order for that to happen, we gotta like the bee's nest has to quit getting shaken.
What does that mean?
Everybody,
I'm offering you a solution. If Jesus comes down and says,
no,
if everybody just wears masks for 3 months, COVID disappears. Can we galvanize and follow that?
probably not.
Okay.
I mean, in all honesty, probably not. And that's just because there's just gonna be people that won't.
And what else do you do that with? What else do you make that stance with?
Me?
Yeah. What else do
Like
you
stuff that
say? I'm not going to adhere to the thing that's going to cause that's going to provide the best solution. What else do you make that stance with in your life? It's not tobacco, alcohol, I guess.
yeah.
You're not going to drink it under any circumstance because you know what it'll do to you. So this is
Yeah.
that, but just in the positive direction. It's I'm going to do this for the sake of knowing that it's going to make things better. That doesn't seem like a very big ask.
No, it doesn't. And I'm not going to disagree with you.
And like the vaccine, they would just supply us with masks. So like your groceries or the trash man coming, there's a delivery every week down the line, and it's all of us just getting masks, and we can fucking design them up, we can bedazzle the shit out of them. Who cares? But we just make it to where people are like, you know what? Fuck the bullshit. Fuck 2 variants a year. Wear a mask, and then 6 months down the line, they go, you know what? We did so good. We don't even have to talk about it seriously now because on top of having a vaccine, the regular use of this. I mean, why do you need to see the other person's whole face? Because in Middle
I
Eastern
read.
countries, when they have headgear that's required, it's just normal. Even though it's demeaning, even though it is misogynist, even all those things being considered, it's still done for the sake of this thing, right? For the sake of normalcy based off of what they believe. So mask use, same thing. And it's not even a belief. COVID is here, and it keeps mutating because of our arrogance. Those are facts. There's no leaning any direction, politicizing that. Those are facts. And the facts state that the longer we allow this to happen, the more we allow it to mutate, which means the harder it's going to get to actually use to have effective vaccines, which we have now. We have now. And now is a question mark for those because it's mutated enough to where now that is a question mark. So we see what the on the con side of that. The con side is our arrogance leaves us open for this to mutate to where even when we do find the solution, we find the saving grace. Or if it was a crime, we found the smoking gun. And then we just threw that evidence out. I need people to make it make sense outside of the selfishness that it all spawns from. Because I'm vaxxed, bro. I'm not bragging.
Yeah.
I just did it. I want to work. I'm wearing my mask again. I want to work. I don't want to stop. I want to keep working. I'm the most successful I've ever been in my entire life during one of the most trying times in world history, dude. That's fucking wild. And all I want to do is keep that up. I'm not sure, and that's not selfish for me. That's because I've built something that allows other people to benefit from it, and then we can steamroll that into other people also benefiting. So I'm just trying to grow it. That's all. So benevolence. That's my main thing is to be benevolent in nature. So my business is helping people by nature, and then I'm using the proceeds of that to grow this to help even more people in a different avenue. Right? That's all. That's all. That's what I want to do. I want to do that because I know that other people are going to eat off of that. That's all I want to keep doing. That's why I'm wearing my mask. I can't put all that on my mask for you to read that and understand it. And
No,
politicizing that, especially when it's it's not Bloods or Crips. It's a black mask, so it's just matching my uniform, and it helps with my allergies. Oh, and if I'm wearing one and I run a red light, guess who they're not going to be able to bring a citation to because they can't see my whole face. Again, and I'm only that's only scratching the surface. There are benefits from this. There really are, and the politicization of it is the theater aspect of selling your point, right? But we're doing it at the cost of people's lives. And my daughter just went back to school, or went to school for the first time, kindergarten. Day one, we get an email. Kids already tested positive for COVID. So it's a petri dish, and now someone is going to get hurt, and potentially die in my neighborhood because we mask use is what it is, because vaccination participation rate is what it is. So it's not even about arrogance. It's about the simple fact I want my daughter to be able to continue to go to school and I want to keep fucking working. That's it. So I don't think that's too much to ask, and I know there's a lot of other people like me that are and with the fatigue of just talking about mentioning COVID, having to speak on it, having to defend yourself, having to tolerate a relative, whatever that means now. We keep extending the time that we have to do all the other things that COVID makes worse. Because also another benefit, when we were locked down and when things were giant question mark, traffic was fantastic. Was fantastic.
Yes, it was.
So there are many benefits that come from us being checked for the sake of balance, but we have to answer that call. We have to. And the arrogance isn't going to be applauded by anyone. Not anyone who's down the line who survives this. Not aliens exist, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
the way the government talks about UFOs now, it's just kind of like, all right, you guys know, but you guys don't have the resources to prove it.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just put it out there like, yeah, here it is. But
Mm-hmm.
I, so until I get other information, I'm convinced that aliens are circling and they're waiting for us to stop bullshitting. They're like, okay, here's another planet. We've seen their movies. We know they're hesitant. But this COVID shit, we can't come down with this. Like, we can't do that. So, yeah, man, it's a lot of it feels so unnecessary. And as a parent to young children, my biggest pet peeve is unnecessary drama. And kids are great at that. That's what they do.
Yeah.
So when I see that same behavior in grown ass people who ought to know better, that's all, man. I'm just trying to get us to a point to where we just use our brains and we just say, fuck it, dude. Fuck perception. Because that's really what it is. It's another construct we're creating that says that if I see you with a mask on, you support the left. If I don't see you, you support the right. Like, it's fucking hell. It's a public health safety issue. So, like smoking cigarettes, right? The whole
Mm-hmm.
smokers' right movement, all that bullshit. What did we do with cigarettes? We realized, fuck cancer. We can prevent this. So just to slow, they didn't even say stop smoking. They just said don't do it inside. And probably from the same coalition. My rights, my right to get lung cancer and give it to you. And so we couldn't collectively just say, you know what, for the greater good, which is another thing my wife talked about with me recently. She said, the greater good. And I said, babe, the greater good, a lot of people don't fucking care about that. That is not on a lot of people's radar. The greater good. They're just trying to be the greatest them. And that's it. And so I said, you can't look at it from the perspective of, hey, let's all work toward the good thing because a lot of people are great. A lot of people are making a lot of money right now off of people's pain and fear and suffering. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's money to be made and there's pride to be projected. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of pride projection. I think a lot of what goes on in our house is I think we're refusing to be scared.
I'm not scared though. Like, I'm not
No,
scared.
no, no, no. No. I was agreeing with you, but I was just saying like we're like that's where we're at
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
home. It's there's a lot of it is what it is, and I have never been really 100% anti-mask. Um, we've always been really careful for the most part, except for a couple oopsies here and there.
Except for that wedding when we flew out of state into a wedding into
Hmm.
Texas, right?
Yeah.
Into the thick of it.
Yep.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Except for
Hmm.
when we gave no fucks. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but that's and it was a roll of the dice. Turned out all right. We did okay.
Yeah, you guys made it.
Yeah, and there's
We can talk about
I can
anything else
see.
at any given
Oh yeah, no, but I was just saying I see the appeal of laughing in the face of danger. I
You
guess.
see, oh Jesus! Please expound, please.
No, no, I can see the appeal of it. Like, hey, don't
Yeah,
go.
Jackass. I see the
Because
appeal of
it's
Jackass. Doesn't mean I need to go
well,
jumping. Yeah.
so look at all these yahoos at Lollapalooza this week.
Yeah, that's another.
Did you see that?
Yeah,
Well, see, my thing personally, I I guess I'm just too old, but I could avoid the rest of that shit for the rest of my life anyway. No, COVID or not.
that makes two of us. That makes two of us. I love concerts. I love loud music. I love the environment. Fuck that noise. I'm good. I got mine in. I got mine in. It's not gonna get better. It's not.
My thing is I love going to like the metal shows or like hard rock shows, and I love being in the pit. But I haven't been in a mosh pit since 2012, and I got knocked unconscious by some 16-year-old. He just came up from under me because he was just coming up and under it, and his head connected with my chin. And I woke up and I was being held up by just like strangers in the back, and this kid like, "Oh my god, dude, are you okay?" And that's when I knew I was mid 20s, and I was just like, my time is done. This is no longer the game that I can play.
That was mid 20s.
Huh?
That's early, bro. That's real early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, I've been hitting the head a lot. I've gone to sleep a few times.
All at concerts.
Um, no,
Oh,
but
okay.
just life.
Life. Sure.
I saw Guar when Dave Brockie was still alive, their lead singer, and like that was. I don't know if you know who they are, but they're the guys. They dress up like they're basically the best way I could describe it. If you don't know, is they dress like they're Power Ranger bad guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Was the best show I've ever been to. I mean, I've like, are there like bands I would still go see? Yes, but like just like to be like in the mosh pit environment kind of deal.
Yeah.
I'm too old for that shit. I'm,
Oh,
I'm,
for
I'm
sure.
over it. I got
No.
not I got knocked out at a post hardcore Avenged Sevenfold concert, right? Back when they became more rock and roll instead of like the hardcore, and you know that's time for Grandpa to take his fucking seat.
How does that work for insurance purposes? Like, because you just went to work the next day, concussed.
It was during the summer and I was in school, so I just
Okay.
kind of
You just ate it.
yeah.
Mental health awareness, guys.
Eh. Well,
Oh
see
yikes!
that was even
Hold
I
on.
think that was even before like
We've been on the air for almost half an hour. I want to give Paul his shout out. Shout out to Paul.
hey Paul.
We have no idea what's going on with Paul tonight. He did not. We're in a text group text chat, and he has not responded. He does work. We're aware. And there's no pressure. It's communication. We don't know, but we had this all set up right over, and he's not here. So shout out to Paul. Whatever you're doing, buddy.
Yeah, yeah, Paul is probably dead, dick exhausted. If we're being as nice as possible.
No, I wish that he would just like take a quick selfie video and be like, "Hey, fuck the show tonight, guys. I'm out."
Yeah.
I would respect that so much more than just no contact. It's just like, all right, man, we'll figure it out, I guess.
Well, here I'll do a quickie little palate cleanser here for
Cool.
you. So I'm in a. So you remember we had Drew Cook come on, right?
Yep.
He added me to a group chat of also sober people that don't like the government. and I've been working with his sober caucus. I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go. But he shared a screenshot from an account, and it's "Don't drink and go to meetings." So it's "Don't drink and go one" on Twitter. It says, I made a lot of bad decisions in active addiction, but thank God I never put School of Hard Knocks as my education on Facebook." Have you, did you, because you are also from White Boy Central, did you
Yep.
ever see people that you knew have School of Hard Knocks in their in their education part
I'm
on
sure
Facebook back in the day?
I'm sure that there's people who have that tattooed on them somewhere, who are in the circles that because I was, I I was friends with quite a few different people. I was friends with all of the groups because I didn't fit into any of them, if that makes any sense. So
I get that.
I could just kind of float around between the different groups. I was harmless. I'll say that. I was the harmless mixed guy in Central Indiana, light skinned mixed guy. So yeah, it was easy to get a pass. I had my share of run-ins, but uh, yeah, there's people out there who take pride in the fact that they're undereducated, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a very clear line between book smarts and street smarts, and street smarts will get you into places that book smarts can't, but
Yep.
they've just got like book dumbs, like, or book mediocres. Like they're not smart. Like the moves they make aren't smart. It's just they just don't get caught, or their their circle isn't. They're not in jeopardy. So yeah, School of Hard Knocks. Jeez.
A lot of the people I knew that did that were either addicts of some kind or just the finest of white trash that you could find.
The finest, the White
The
Castleists.
finest. Mm, mm. Oh man, yeah. So, but every time I'd see that, like, so I always really liked POD.
I was a fan of POD myself.
Was it, remember like they had that
Christian band.
so, yeah, they had the Christian band and they somehow ended up getting a song on Little Nicky, School of Hard Knocks, right?
Yeah.
So every time I see School of Hard Knocks, we're from School of Hard Knocks. Are you
Very
ready to
good.
rock?
Very good. Uh,
I saw them. I saw them when I was 15.
Yikes.
That was rad. I don't even remember the name of the festival. I'll have to ask my mom.
Time
But it was
machine.
it was a big it was a Christian rock festival, right? And the headliner on the main stage that year was POD,
Mhm.
and this is in the middle of July, so it's hot, it's humid, it's sticky, it's gross. There's no water anywhere, right?
It's Lollapalooza.
And so, pretty much, right? But we're in the middle of this like converted corn farm that is, it's
Yeah.
just been, but and these dudes brought their. Do you remember back in the day? One of the big things they did was the big, tall pyro flames.
Hmm. Yep.
Okay. Oh my God, dude. So we'd be in there, we'd be rocking out and having a good time, and they'd hit something, and woo, and then this wall of heat.
Yeah.
It's just you could almost watch people almost just passing out.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, but then they brought out like the hoses.
I honestly.
People were just passing around random gallons of water, and we were all. "Ugh."
Oh yeah. I think that's why we have such a hard time with the OCD nature of, even if it's not political for you, with masks. You can definitely
Yeah.
you can understand that people are hesitant to it because
Mm-hmm.
mosh pits, because of Lollapalooza, because people have paid money to go stand like what looks like inside of one another in order to occupy the
Yeah.
same space to experience this one thing. And there's definitely something to be said for being there. But I saw like a TikTok of some chick who was filming herself in the middle of the pit, or the audience, and she's like uncomfortably squished between like 8 people in frame, and then she like takes the
Yeah.
and she extends it out, and you can just see it. Everybody's just miserable, and so then she's like, and it's like a time lapse, so it's her at the very first complaining about it, and then the next time that like 15, 20 minutes later, and then they're like, "What the fuck? How are we supposed to use the bathroom?" So it's just and like New Year's Eve, New York Times or Times Square, right? Last year was the first year that I would have wanted to go to New York to be a part of that because it was spaced, because there were people with tables, and it wasn't the. I've been to the Waste Management Open, which gets pretty live, and
Hmm.
like just seeing that, but then in a confined space. No. Yeah. So the reason why we're not gung ho about masks is because people are like, I've done all this gross shit for a long time and I've been all right. So, and there's reasons,
Well,
there's
so part of
logic to
my
that.
biggest, I mean, part of my biggest hesitance
Gotcha.
so I got dysentery twice
Whoa.
on my first deployment.
So
Like
you're
not just
are you vaxxed to the gills then already?
uh yeah,
Do you
but
guys
not
get
to
stuff that's like just in case?
dude. I took the full gambit, uh the full 3 or 4 shots. I can't remember how many of the anthrax vaccine and the boosters.
Yeah.
But no, so like I got dysentery twice on top of being a rip roaring drunk.
Can you describe
Uh,
what that ailment is? Because I don't know what I know what the term is. I don't know
so
what it is.
so basically, it's you have diarrhea so bad that your body's stripping its nutrients away, and you're really emptying your bowels constantly,
Right.
and you're throwing up. So a lot of the reasons why dysentery is a really big deal in not developed countries is because there's not usually clean water around. There's not enough food to keep that or fluids and IV bags to really keep that person like hydrated enough
Sure.
or electrolyted enough to not die. Right?
Gotcha.
You basically shit and puke yourself to death. So I caught this. I caught it twice, and once was for sure my fault because I was just thirsty, and my hot BB of the day, aka the cat that I was standing post with, brought frozen bottled water from Christ knows where. And the rule number one is you don't drink the water in Iraq, right?
Even
So
bottled?
it probably came straight from. Well, so it was already open bottles, and they filled it up with somewhere else.
So they filled it at the faucet and put it in the freezer.
Yeah,
Awesome.
some that you normally wouldn't think of, right? But so and it tore me up. But after that, after my second bout, and I cleared it, I think I only ended up getting like one IV bag through the whole thing. It was weird, but
What's the downtime? What's the
I
recovery
didn't have
period?
downtime. I did.
Oh wow.
It took me. No, they. I still had to like go on post. I got to sleep. I got to take off post one day.
And how long
I mean,
did you have
but so
symptoms?
oh, it was about a week each. So I mean, I'd be up there on post with a trash bag for both ends, and I'd have to
You're
go
with
and take them out
someone.
back. Then I
You're with
had
someone, right?
during the day.
And so someone's witnessing you doing all this too.
Someone that there's a language barrier,
Better. Even better.
but after that, I could go and I could eat shit raw. Like I'm talking like chicken and like
First off,
I had
hey, first off, stop bragging.
well I mean
That's gross.
it's a
That's
brag,
really
but it's like
gross.
don't do it,
That's really gross.
don't do it, it's bad. But yeah, like there was just hey, watch this, Jake can eat that, he won't throw up. I'm like, okay,
So you
because
should
like there
so you
was
should have been on Fear Factory, no doubt.
oh dude, I would have ruined that show.
Oh man, Survivor, you need to go on these shows that pit you against.
Yeah. So, but as I've gotten older, I'm still better than the average human being, but there's definitely times where I'm just like, ugh. So it used to be the only time I ever threw up was when I drank entirely too much, which is also like 3 times as much as the normal person.
Yeah.
So, but And so a lot of my hesitancy comes from like, yeah, but I'll be okay. And what I my whole thing though was that's not fair to the little people that live around me.
We mean not
Like I'll
fair.
be fine.
Sure. Okay.
Well, so
Gotcha.
like let's say I catch the funk, I'll be good. But how are my kids gonna be?
Well, your kids are, according to the numbers, they would be better than you. They
Yeah,
they recover and they're less likely to get sick and they're quick to rebound from it. Um,
right.
I just like seeing my children sick at all. So knowing that they got it because someone just didn't care enough is very frustrating because it's like if they get sick because they get pink eye, well, they scratch their asshole and then they rub their eye. So it's like that's the kind of way kids get because kids are gross. So it's like I don't need
Yeah.
another reason for my already gross children to then catch the funk because someone was just like, nah, good. And it always takes that tragic story of the father of five who talked shit, went on vacation, did all this, and then on his deathbed, he's like, I should have just fucking taken it. Because that's what it boils down to. It's just that easy. I don't like the word just. Like, when people talk to me about, like, needing things done and they say, oh, just do this, it's it feels very condescending because it's like, if it's just, you can do it. So don't say just about something you need someone else's help to do. So it's a very basic principle thing. I try not to let it ruin my life, but it is a pet peeve. It's annoying, and so when people are intubated and they're like, I should have just. You're like, okay. So your pride. That's how much your pride is worth. Your pride is just because if you had just done this thing, if you had just not text and gotten in that accident, it's like it's
Hmm.
negligence. At that point, it's negligence, and my empathy turns to sympathy, turns to apathy because I cannot feel any pain for you because you've literally chosen to feel pain on purpose. So,
Well, see, when you sent me that, it was like my first thing was like, man, I feel bad for that dude's wife and kids,
no doubt, that sucks too.
and that was, and that was, but that was where it ended for
Yeah,
me,
yeah,
just because like I'm a health stickler, even though I'm not in the best shape I have ever been.
yeah.
My diet's not as 100% clean as it used to be, but I'm still very like here's what I need to eat. Here's the I need to take my zinc. I need to either be out in the sunlight or I need to take even extra vitamin D today.
Yep.
I need to be I need to have my vitamin C up. I'm still very regimented about those things. So it's like when you see somebody who is rotund by choice and is probably a McDonald's more than once a week kind of person. I'm not trying to degrade that. I'm trying to degrade that lifestyle. And then they're like, "I'm sick." Your response should be, "No shit."
So if that's a vet,
I can't have.
so that's a veteran or a police officer or a firefighter who overeats and catches COVID, and they post a picture of him in their uniform. I say him, a picture of them in their uniform. The narrative is at least sympathy because of the chosen profession, right? So
Yeah, but
what you're
you
talking
don't get it.
about.
You don't get it from me.
Oh, so when you see
Like
that,
if
so when you see a cop,
it, no, look, if you are an unhealthy son of a bitch, period, and then something unhealthy happens, and your body's like, I've already been working on trying to fix all this other shit you've been doing to me for years.
yeah.
Tough shit. And then my response is like, well, yeah. Like,
So
what do you expect?
who in your family would you be able to say that about?
In my family,
Are there people in your family you'd be able to say that have that situation? That's their circumstance.
not in my immediate family.
Okay, but in your network, is there
Um,
someone you know that you can think of at the top of your head and you'd be like,
oh,
yeah,
my my dad's cousins' husbands, for sure. The ones that were like openly racist to my my best friend, my like second cousin Travis,
Yeah.
and his sister, like if those fuckers just died, I'd be like, cool, good for
Well,
you.
I mean, that's
but
that's kind of an easy trigger to pull, man.
I'm not coming to that funeral.
I'm just talking about, is there
No,
anybody in your family who's just like they just have they are emotional eaters and they're inactive. So they're just going to be heavy. Cuz I
my
know
brother is on the autism. My brother Jordan's on the autism spectrum,
okay.
and I know a lot of his habits are his habits because those are his habits. Because it is what it is. And
Yeah.
Jordan's as round as he is tall, always has been. See, I wouldn't I wouldn't just feel for him because he's like my direct brother, but it's just like him helping himself is more of a struggle than it would be for you and I, just
Sure.
because his brain thinks on a different level.
He's at a disadvantage. So,
But I know, so my brother Jared he's vaccinated. Um, my mom, I think my mom and my dad are both vaccinated. Both my grandparents, all four of my grandparents, and then I don't know about uh, my sister and Dub, her husband, but I'm sure they're on the up and up. And then Munchkin, my other adopted brother, um, he's he's in Iraq right now. And then when he comes back to, he lives out in Florence. When he comes back home, he doesn't really do shit anyway, other than scoop up horse and cow shit, and then, hey man, you want to get a haircut?
yeah.
Yes, I do. Let's go. You know.
I mean,
So I mean,
I go into people's houses all the time and I'm just like, or let's say I just go to a store to pick up a piece of furniture and I see the people walking around and I'm like, and you can kind of, it's not difficult to get an idea of who might have a tough time if they got sick.
mhm,
And they're often the ones who would push back the most. So like you said,
right.
they are choosing to put themselves at that disadvantage that your brother came into the world with.
Yep. Well, see, and that's where I get a lot of my Team Thanos comes out. Yeah,
Yeah.
and,
I mean,
and it's I, and
I'm a
I'm a
real
very empathetic person.
oh, man. I only want to see people do
like
well.
yes, yes. But if you are refusing to do well for yourself, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do?
Well, the the
you know,
the onus is never on you. First of all, um, whatever happens at that point is on them. But I mean, if you believe in Darwinism at all, or if you understand the logic behind it, it's like at some point, or with karma, it's gonna come back and get you. If you make
mhm.
if you choose poorly on a habitual basis, something's gonna happen to you. Something's coming
Well, that's
because
we'll throw it back to Bible. Back to Bible. You reap what you sow.
oh no, no Bible from me.
No, but you know what I mean. Like like the seeds you plant is what grows in your field.
Like, you made this bed, lay in it, right?
Hmm.
You made this
Hmm.
deathbed.
The the universe, the energy you put out into the universe returns.
So they're manifesting their own destiny,
Yeah.
their own destiny to go down in flames as the result at the hand of a preventable disease, yeah, or virus, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So
And I have still getting it set up, but I want to go and get the antibody test.
yeah. See, the thing is, I
Um,
want all of the people who say I had it early, but have not gotten a test. At the very least, you could just go get it, so you know. So you know one way or another. And if you knew, or you felt that you knew, and the test comes back and corroborates your story, put that up there. Pat yourself on the back. You were right. Good luck.
Yeah,
Like it's
but
not
you
that
know, like,
hard. It's not that hard.
yeah,
But again,
yeah, I'm working on getting my appointment set up with the old
do you have to pay
Veterans
for that?
Veterans Administration.
Yeah, yeah. No.
No,
Okay.
no. I've been deemed broken enough by the government during my time in service that I don't have to pay for my
Yes.
health care.
I know that. But I'm just talking about with COVID in general. Most if not all most testing is free. And I
Hmm.
don't know if that's the case with antigen or antibodies.
Well, I know that the one test that everyone was using, they found that it couldn't recognize the difference between flu and COVID. No, and like, I'm not trying to discourage people from going and trying to figure stuff out. Like, please don't take it like that. Whoever hears this, but like, you know, um, that's a that's another wrench in the system. That has also led to a lot of this isn't real. This isn't. Like,
Nothing is why do we rely on 100% accuracy? Why do we rely on us, flawed by nature, to then be perfection in terms of medicine? Why do we do that? That's like that level of privilege is ridiculous, dog. It's stupid. Because you were just talking about dysentery and how not clean countries, how that's a problem,
mhm,
right? So we have the privilege. I have the privilege of not having to deal with that because I live in America, North America, specifically the U.S. Right? So sure, there's
mhm.
places I could probably get that in the desert somewhere, but more than likely, my chances are low. So it's like the privilege of us. It's
Listen,
unreal.
we live such crazy privileged lives that we're like, we have the option of filtering our already filtered water.
Well, our water's not great. We know
Well, I mean, our water's not, but like,
our water's
when
actually
it
kind of
comes to a
shitty.
pinch,
No,
it's
you
yeah,
could drink
Arizona
from the
water's
faucet.
shitty, but
Yeah, you could drink from the faucet
yeah,
if you needed to.
yeah, push comes to shove. Yeah,
Very very good.
but
Great
like,
example. Great example. I'm not going to the tap.
no.
I'm not. I'm not. I'm not proving you right. Although I agree with you, and I say that yes, I could drink from tap water. I could go to a restaurant and I could ask for water. Who knows what I'm gonna get? Even if it's from the
Exactly.
soda, even if it's from the soda fountain, bacteria can grow in there, right? So like, it's not nothing's foolproof, man. Nothing is 100%. But we'll still do that. We'll still be like, oh, this one guy did this one thing, and now it can't be real. Like it's so the pessimism you have in terms of us reaching immunity or the turning point, yeah, based off of that pattern of behavior, I don't see it. I don't see it happening
Yeah,
because that's what it is. They're just not going to drink the tap. They would rather
yeah.
die than
All
drink
right.
tap water. That's what it boils. And of course, boils. That's
There it
what it boils
is.
down to.
There's
You can boil your
there's
water.
there, there's your next Truce and Ladders tweet, buddy.
What's that?
I'd rather die than drink tap water.
Says the starving man.
The COVID denier.
Says the starving
Says the
man
starving.
at, who found the actual desert oasis and not the mirage. I ain't drinking this shit. I'm not trying to make, I'm not I apologize. I'm not trying to make fun of people. It's just so consequence. That's the other
Sometimes
side
you
of
have to
that.
laugh.
That's the other side of that, right? So Darwinism, all of the reap what you sow. There's consequences. The sow part of that is the consequence, right? Or wait, the reaping.
Hmm.
Hope I said that right. The reaping uh, is the consequence. So where do you see consequence being like the driving force behind anything right now? Because I saw an article about one of the insurrectionists from January 6th who just got let go and he's not going to do any time because they're going to consider the time that he was locked up waiting for trial time served.
Hmm. Well, it's going to depend on what that person was like officially charged with, and if it was a felony or misdemeanor. On
So
top of, they
they're
should
getting
probably
a
never get a social media account again.
yeah. They're getting. I mean, there is definitely a spectrum of the participation at the Capitol on that day. Um, but in terms of an accessory to crimes,
Hmm.
is the penalty really that much? I mean, because I know like in terms of like murder, say you're just a getaway driver and you had no idea you were going to commit a crime or you're going to be an accessory, but you were driving and then pop and you're like go. Like if you
Hmm.
get caught, that offense is serious, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
So it's like you were carrying a Trump flag or a Confederate flag and you were pushing police or you were yelling hang Mike Pence or you were whoever the young lady, I guess young lady that got popped trying to jump into the chamber, like the consequence, right? The consequence was her
Hmm.
life. It took her getting shot
Yeah.
in front of people, point blank range, for them to take it seriously, for them to go and watching all of the videos coming back up and everything. It's amazing to see how quickly the animosity changed to victimhood. And it was like, okay, guys, fall back. Okay, guys, fall back. Someone got hurt. But it took someone on their end to actually get hurt after they hurt, killed, and wound up. Was it now four of the DC cops have now taken their own lives after the
I
event?
That's the last I heard.
Yeah.
That's the last I
So,
heard. Yeah.
so all of that being true, from the moment that that shot went off, the the timeline is completely different from the start of all that. So it took an actual consequence for them to just fall back from a fight that they brought to their doorstep.
Mm.
Like so at some point we now have the bar has now been set. So it now takes a bullet to stop most things, especially when it comes to the government. And you and I agree on many things when it comes to government overreach and keeping that out of our lives for the most part. Um, I just have a hard time seeing where this is all going to go because, like, with mask use, the same people who have that energy are also the ones who are saying, "Watch out for this date coming up or this thing coming up," or and they're still active in um, future attacks, future domestic terrorism. So they are actively working on that, and there are people in the building uh, that was broken into who are actively on the side. Um, so yeah, as much as I don't like the idea with libertarians being able to just point fingers at the other two sides, like it's like now more than ever, I'm like, these people need to figure this shit out because how are we supposed to have any kind of electoral process moving forward if they don't set a precedence by making consequences real? Because it's like there's a big thing about not snitching, right? There's a big thing
Hmm.
about treason and not selling out your own countrymen, your own people behind the badge. Like there are unspoken rules, there are traditions. There's a lot in terms of not aiding the insurrection. And there are people who literally did that. There were people who gave tours of the compound so they had an idea. They let them scout it. Like, how are those people who are still tax paid politicians, how do they have any business being any part of our government at all? Like it I have a hard time thinking that them or any of the people who were responsible for the insurrection to be able to vote again.
Well, on the I know people that were there.
Oh, I had a
Um,
conversation with a guy. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, the people I knew did not go inside.
Okay.
They were actually there's a I'll have to find that they were actually actively saying no, don't go in there. We're not stop it. Don't be about this. Don't go rushing inside. Don't do it. And my biggest fear is the people I know getting lumped in to that just because they were on the grounds. You know what I mean?
Accessories. Yeah.
But like, even though there's like visible proof of them saying stop, don't do this, don't act like that, but saying stuff like that, don't go inside, don't being to the best of their ability as peacekeepers they could, kind of,
I
because I
mean,
think a lot of people went there
if you start
not
off
not having the idea.
if you're part of a group of people who start a fire, and then you simply tell people to stop fanning the flames, are you innocent?
No, but I will say in this case they were actively saying don't start the fire.
And it has to do with our democracy. So it's not just like it's a fire. It's it's our everything. And they actively chose to pay money to fly to DC, to book a hotel, to then take an Uber or how whatever. They paid money on multiple different avenues to be a part of this, and then shit got real. And like again, consequences. There has to be some level of consequence. You don't it shouldn't be equal. So I understand what you're saying and I agree with you. They shouldn't be held as accountable as the guy who was standing on Nancy Pelosi or sitting in Nancy Pelosi's desk, or that stole federal documents, or what the laundry list of things that people did that were ridiculous. Yes, the people who were simply on the ground outside, like, whoa, I'm not scaling a wall. Whoa, I don't think that Capitol Police officer needs to be hit with this baton that was his. Yeah, they shouldn't be held accountable at the same level, but there should be a level of consequence that prevents them from at least participating in the next one, because this is just the start. This was the first, right? When was the last time something at this scale happened that you can recall?
Like in actual Washington D.C.
No, like
involving federal buildings.
a government situation. I mean, look at any election. Any election. Where did it go south? Where was there this level of unrest, this level of disagreeing, this level of division? I mean, this is all uncharted territory. And so, you want to talk about slippery slope? How is it going to get? How can it not get worse if they don't take it seriously? If they don't put their foot down and say, "Y'all fucked up. You are going to be an example." And we see the justice system, how it plays out, depending on who you are. A lot of the times, it's not. Certain people will be locked up because they're a menace to society, and then other people will get smaller or reduced sentences because of their lost potential. So, the narrative will fit where they want it to, and I just hope. I'm hopeless at this point, but I hope that they take a lot of these people and they set a precedent, so that way the next time this happens, because it will, people are actively planning it. The FBI is busy as hell. And they've got the resources, and they have people inside that building that are gaslighting treason, and domestic terrorism. So it's gonna happen again. So I don't know what it's gonna take. It's gonna take a lot, but something tells me it's not gonna be the government and them being tyranny and it's being an issue with tyranny. It's going to be the public and them challenging the state of democracy. Because you saw what happened. There have been more. You saw the actual politicians that got arrested because they were protesting on the stairs, right? Because they said, "Hey,
Um,
this the moratorium for rent is expiring. We're all supposed to go on vacation. Don't go on vacation. Stay here and work." And they pushed back. Everybody else went on vacation, and then they got arrested.
I didn't know they got arrested.
Yeah,
I didn't see any of that.
yeah, bro. Jesse Jackson got arrested, bro. Making examples so that way people take it serious. They set a precedent using consequence. Jesse Jackson is not new to being arrested, so this is going to slide right off his back. However, the optics of it caters to that following. Now the narrative on all the news networks will highlight Jesse Jackson being arrested. So, yeah, they're gaslighting all of this, and they're making money hand over fist on both sides. So,
Mhm.
what are we doing? How are we going to move the needle? Because we need a third party. We need more 1.2%, man.
Yep.
D's nuts got almost 6. So let's get what's your handle again?
Ligament variant.
Let's get Ligma variant. If that's got to be the party of Ligma variant, then let's do it.
Wow. I'm about that life.
Because 2 options is not enough. What restaurant have you ever gone
No.
to and you've gotten 2 choices and you made a great decision?
You can have chicken or salad.
That's it.
The choice is yours.
You want the chicken or the beef?
Mhm.
Can I get a salad? No. Nope.
Nah. We don't do health here.
Oh man.
No, man. And I'm not saying the woke, but I think there's definitely a great awakening happening. And people that are of voting age and people that are coming into voting age are, just because the access of information is pretty much faster than lightning for you to have available. I think more and more people are realizing how much they're getting screwed and who's doing it. So, I mean, who knows? Who knows?
But the power lies in numbers, right? So
Mhm.
people get canceled because enough people make enough noise to where people have to pay attention, and that gains enough momentum to then dictate the dollars, right? So that's what it always boils down to. It always boils down to the money. So I don't know what we need to do in terms of the propaganda and the way that we like the last election season. My TV was muted between every commercial, and I'm not even talking like
Mhm.
watching on air stuff. I'm talking like watching on Hulu the ads coming up, which is them bashing one another, bullshit, lies, whatever, just like, and those were only superseded by the Cialises and the other prescription drugs that spend most of the commercial talking about the side effects, right? And the harm.
Mhm.
So it's like, it's so harmful to hear that shit all of the time. All of the time. And we're one of the few countries that allow that to happen. So I know in terms of prescription meds, I think there's only 2 countries that do it. And we're one of them. So it's like we shove that down people's throats all the time and on public television. So like on the on the news, you watch the news and then you'll see that shit come up right afterwards, and you're just like, they'll do a story about obesity, and then blah blah blah. Then they'll do a segment. Oh, come check out this barbecue spot. Oh, locally support local business. And you're like, what the? So but there's money to be made from the sponsorship of, or the advertising dollars that come from the attention that you get, and attention, you can get more attention by doing less than at any time in history. You could literally do nothing. Have you seen the video of the guy on the roller coaster who doesn't celebrate or get excited or scream or anything? He just turns around, looks at the camera, and is like this the whole time. So he's going on
I
this
have
roller
it.
coaster. He's going down this roller coaster, and it's like, people are going like, ah, they're all screaming. He's like this, like not reacting the whole time. And so it's just a montage of him at different spots, different coasters, and so he's literally doing nothing, and it's funny. So it's and I don't know. I've seen that video without trying the last 3 days, and yeah, you could do very little. I mean, I see people who have pets who have bigger followings than me. I'm just like,
Yeah, those dog accounts are killer, killing it. Well, so we were talking about that Ryan kid, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
But
that
that's
kid
not
plays with toys.
he's not doing nothing. I mean, professional athletes play kids games. What are we really talking about?
Well, no, we're just talking about people getting really famous for not really doing extraordinary things. I'm not saying that athletes aren't extraordinary, but I'm saying like
That is
this kid's parents
that's
tapped
a
into the
good.
cuteness of their son to make millions of dollars.
No, it wasn't to make millions of dollars. A lot of people do that. A lot of people,
Well, yeah, I mean,
especially during the pandemic,
yeah,
they've recorded what they've done, and people are watching more things than ever. So
hmm
you're gonna have to have content to offer them. And TikTok, man, TikTok is just the overwhelming majority of TikTok is watch me do this thing everyone else is doing,
hmm
which in terms of uh, being exceptional, what's exceptional about being the same as everyone else?
it's really nothing.
It's the opposite of that. So TikTok wins. The Chinese company still, right? TikTok? Or
hmm
did they get bought
Yeah.
domestically or whatever?
Well, so they have a domestic overseer that's supposed to be in charge of
Gotcha.
Americans' data, but
Yeah.
it's definitely a Chinese company. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, just that whole thing. And that is, I see people do stuff on that I don't want to see. And I'm just like, and then I look over and I see the attention that it gets, and I'm like, all time high. we're
Yeah.
just being.
What was it? There's a there's a kink and a fetish for everybody, right?
The
There's
the voyeuristic element of it
hmm
here, the fly on the wall. Everybody wants to see the
yeah.
thing. Everybody wants to see the harmful thing from a harmless vantage point.
hmm
They want to be able to pry on people's personal lives, judge them, and then go sleep at home night. Go to sleep soundly.
hmm Well, it's we talked about like I like Your Mom's House podcast.
Yep.
It's Tom Segura and his wife, and he has a thing, and it's called Horrible or Hilarious, and it's just people getting hurt.
Yeah.
And I will admit there are times where I am laughing my ass off at some of the things that these folks do, and there's other times where I'm like,
Describe one of those times.
So there's a car shop, and they figured it out. It was in Thailand, and this car was backing up into a bay, and the guy was behind the car backing it in, but the person backing up wasn't paying attention or something, and pinned this dude up against the workbench in the back, and he was and he was yelling, "I'm stuck in Thai," and I mean, like he was fine, but because of that moment, it was hysterical.
Sure.
There's another one. It was another. I think it was Thailand too. But like a water buffalo got pissed off and crashed through a restaurant, and I mean, no one got hurt. There was a woman screaming, and there was a guy who didn't even like take the cigarette out of his mouth, was walking out with his hand up, chasing this bull out of this like restaurant. That was
Yeah.
pretty funny. Um,
I don't think getting hurt will ever go out of style.
no,
I think,
no.
again, watching people be harmed from a harmless vantage point without actually feeling the
Well,
pain.
have you ever heard the Tool song "Vicarious"?
I am sure I have. I don't remember it though.
Here, let me pull up these lyrics real quick because this was made when 800 in 2000 released in 2006. Okay. See. So don't look at me like I'm a monster. Frown out your one face, but frown out your one face, but with the other. Stare like a junkie into the TV. Stare like a zombie while the mother holds her child, watches him die. Hands to the sky, crying, "Why oh why?" Because I need to watch things die from a distance. Vicariously, I live while the whole world dies. You all need it too. Don't lie. Why can't we just admit it?
Where is it at? Where is it at? Bars. Dropping bars
Mm-hmm.
behind the guitar.
But like,
Voyeurism, man.
it's true.
It's like,
Yeah. I mean,
I mean, it's like
I haven't watched an actual whole news segment in probably 10 years.
I can't watch a news segment without saying something back to the TV.
Mm-hmm.
Like you know how people talk in movies, which is a pet peeve of mine as well.
Yeah.
Please don't watch a movie with me if you're going to talk during it. Let's experience it together. Um, I don't need Marv Albert color commentary right after something we both saw. Um, and I forgot what I was going to say.
We're talking about watching news segments and talking to the
News
TV.
segments. Yeah, so you know how people will talk in the movies. I do that when I watch the TV during news because they'll say something. I'm just like, and I go, I can look at my wife and I was like, did that sound? And she'll just like nod, or it's just gross, man. Like some of the stuff, or how they just reach. That's what it is. The thing that gets me the most is how much they reach for a story.
Yeah. Like, was the one I saw? Um, it made its ways around, and it was a news segment in Washington D.C. about, do we need to license dog groomers? Why is that? What is?
Why is that a story?
Why is that on the news?
So the acronym news, is that an actual thing? What is your understanding of the what news means? No. Pre Google. No.
I've heard it, but I know entertainment, weather, sports.
Yeah.
I don't know what the
My
news
understanding
the
is
N is.
my understanding is the acronym news means notable events, weather, and sports.
Okay.
So notable events will obviously cover politics, the gamut. That might be wrong, but it made the most sense when I heard it, and I didn't question it. So I don't know. I didn't check Snoops. I didn't know. I don't know if it's valid or truthful or whatever. But it made sense. I was like, I'll run with it. But I don't watch it for any of those things. I definitely.
No.
Oh man, uh, this the Suns games. After watching the Suns get swept in reverse.
Hmm.
Oh man, that was tough. Like watching the regular news people talk about sports when they had no business doing so. I was just like, man, it was hard. It was hard to watch, and they had on, so they would, the main news people would either be there or they would be talking about it, and then they would cut to the actual sports guys, right? Or sports people.
Hmm.
And so on ABC 15, I think Stephen Hunter is his name. He's a former Suns player who is like their liaison to credibility. So he's on the panel
Yeah.
to like give them the insight or whatever. I caught him like laughing as they were like breaking to him because I'm I don't know. I'm going to assume that they were laughing about what the regular news folks were saying because I'm not an ex NBA player, but I know enough lingo to know that they had no idea what the fuck they were talking. Like they couldn't sell it at all. There was hearing
Yeah.
them talk didn't make me feel any better about the game or worse about it. Like they didn't add anything to it. It was just like, oh, Suns lost again. Can they do it next time? Here are the experts, and you cut to them, and they're just like, yeah, and so they start breaking it down, and it just made me. I was only watching it from that point just to see how long it took them. Uh, to get it right, to actually sound like they knew what they were talking, and it did 4 games in a row, pow, 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 and then it turned to the disappointment, and so they were like name calling, they were calling out Chris Paul, and they were like, I was like, yo, you guys don't even know what you're talking about. On top of not giving Giannis credit because that dude went nutso. So, and he's a dope person. Like, I'm rooting for that guy in real life.
In, in real life, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I had an event happen on Saturday
A
that
notable
chapped my ass
a notable event.
in my personal life.
So it's news.
So there were people. So the NPC USA's, which is the national competition to earn your pro card, happened
Yep.
in Tempe. Um, there was a couple from my old gym that came out here because the husband was competing in bodybuilding. His first time at light heavyweight. I was going to try and like get out there for prejudging, and then kids were being kids, and then Saturday didn't make sense to go just because Ruth was on her terrorist shit. So I said, hey, you know, let me know when. So I was talking to his wife. I said, hey, let me know when he gets off stage, and you know, I'll Britt and I and my girls will take you guys out to dinner. You know, but if you have a team thing, if you have like a team meal that you want to do instead, just let me know.
Yeah.
Right? Easy. I haven't seen you in years. I understand you're here with a group of people, but if you're down, let me take you out to dinner. Right?
Nice.
They said that sounds great. Hell yeah, I'm down with that. Okay, cool. A couple hours later, I get hit up by the dude's wife, and she's like, "Hey, listen, we've both been sick. We think that he got COVID from work. We're probably just going to lay low and go home. And it probably would be good for you to be around us or bring your babies around." I said, "You know what? Thank you for that consideration. I really do appreciate it. I miss you guys. Even though this didn't work out, I love you. I hope everything works out and you guys get home safe."
Sure.
So I'm always up and working on Saturdays, and then we actually had to push back my other podcast for the love of fit. We pushed it back to record Saturday night, so I was up anyway. These fools went to a team dinner, so instead of saying, "Hey man, we're just gonna have the team dinner that you said it'd be cool, we're gonna have," we lied.
They said
Go fuck
they
yourself.
said they had COVID. Oh,
Yeah.
damn.
Like so instead of being like, like we came out here as a team, and it was our journey as a team. I think we're just gonna have a team dinner. I'd be like, I would have said, I completely understand that. I respect you as athletes and people, and I understand you want to spend time with your team. That's cool. I'll catch you. I'll catch you next time around, or if I'm ever around, I'll hit you guys up.
Yeah.
Simple courtesy communication, easy peasy. Nope, straight told me to fuck myself. Like,
So, is what you're describing? Is that easier or more difficult than wearing a mask?
think that'd be more difficult. Yeah.
Because it doesn't seem like it takes much to be able to reach out and say, hey, and even in the heat of the moment, like maybe it wasn't planned, and then after the show they were like, you know what, let's go out, right? So maybe they
Yeah.
didn't think that they had enough of a leeway to give you that. How did you find out that they went to the dinner?
Instagram stories
So on their account or someone in their network?
on theirs and someone in
Yikes.
their network.
So
Like,
so when
damn, dude.
so when you reached out to him, you did it via Instagram,
And I called him. I don't have her number, so that was Instagram.
and that conversation started off by you saying, "Hey, fuckface."
No, I didn't. No, I didn't say anything back to him. I liked her story. I gave it the old hand clap.
You chose the microaggression instead of violence.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's where I went.
Where is it at? Where is it at? Grown man move. Yes.
I was
Good
like,
choice.
damn, dude. Like,
Petty, so
like especially
you're not gonna let the petty go. You're gonna let him. You're gonna make sure you get a little bit in.
like my thing is especially with him because I was definitely closer with him than I was his wife, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying we're the best of friends, but they were there at my going away dinner. They people that I would say, hey, if I'm in town, I'd like to spend time with you, or vice versa. They're on that level, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I have a big problem with like if you like don't want to hang out, just say that shit.
Yes, I agree. I completely agree with you.
You know,
I
you are not going to hurt my feelings. I am very secure. I'm like, I get it.
I'm the same way. It seemed, again, it's like the masks, in my opinion. The amount of effort needed on their end is so little that the amount of time that I've either known them, been aware of them, whatever, that we've had a level of respect to where we just simply like it's like if someone texts me and I don't text them back, I make sure that when I do see it, I text them and say, "Hey, my bad," because it's I feel a level of disrespect when it happens on my end, and probably wasn't intentional. They got busy. There are a plethora of reasons why they would not have responded to me, but the amount of effort it takes for that response is so low in my book that since I take the effort to respond and say, "Hey, my bad," you can at least say, "Hey, sorry, man, last minute decision. We're gonna do that team dinner. Cool? Question mark?" And you would have responded, "Cool!" Exclamation point. End of conversation.
Yeah, it's like that
No,
makes total sense. Have
no
a good
bad,
night.
no
You know?
bad blood, no issue. Then you would see their stories and you would like them for the right reasons.
Yeah. So, I'm glad you guys are enjoying that pizza, especially after
Yeah,
this long grind.
you
You
earned
came
those
you came
carbs.
you came from the Austin area, flew into Phoenix, or drove maybe even like
Yeah,
you took a it wasn't a big trip, but it was still a trip to a place you haven't been. That's rad, man. Good for you. But enjoy it.
yeah. My show, um, the original co-host that I had, he pulled the same thing. He we're supposed to record, supposed to do something for the show, and he was like he was being wishy washy, and I was like, okay, it's on the fence, and that's what I took it as. And then he told me he told me something that he thought would work, and he used his child to do it, and so I didn't question it at all because sure I want to have some consistency around recording, around working, blah 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 blah. We're busy. We're all busy. We've all got families. We got
Hmm.
shit to do. But again, just give me a heads up. I just say, hey, it's not gonna work today. Cool, no big deal. He told me that, and then I saw pictures on Facebook later, 15 minutes later, of him on the golf course. And so you're shaking your head. So I see that, and I think we're on the same wavelength in terms of what you saw in their stories. I don't remember if I liked it or if I just commented. I don't remember what I did. I don't think I chose pettiness. I think I just took a mental note and was like, okay, because that very small lie cost you big, because
Hmm.
you could have spent a little bit of time and just released yourself of any obligation. And it again, it was we were two or three shows in maybe, and that happened. So we just started getting our groove going, and I I valued the show more than them. On
Hmm.
top of me, and this was an hour and a half long show, and it was edited. So I spent time. I did sound effects, drops, all this stuff. Like I was putting in work in this. He just had to show up and record it, and like I had the topics lined up, everything. I was like, "Yo, you want to? Can you bring it?" And we worked together, so we got to talk about it during the week. So it's not even
Hmm.
like it was just a lapse in communication. It was just a straight up like I would rather not. And so in my book of rather not anomics, if uh, if you choose convenience over communication, I'm a good. So
Yeah,
yeah,
like
I just let him know. I was like, all right, I'm gonna have somebody else come on because you don't have the same level of urgency I do. And he was like, cool. That was it.
yeah.
So it was like, okay, so this thing that we had talked about that you were gung ho about, that you liked, that you were participating in, that your family liked, that it was and again, that's not the he's not the first. He's definitely not the last person who has chosen convenience. Um, and it is what it is. But it's like so I learned from that lesson to not ask him to do it again. That's it.
Well, see, and that's how I feel. So I really don't do any work on the show I record on Fridays or Saturdays.
Yeah.
Like Danny picks, here's our topics. He does the editing. He does the release. He does everything.
Yeah.
So it would be immensely disrespectful for me to be like, nah, and, and make up some bullshit and then be caught doing some other shit. Like
Yeah.
so. I don't know that I wanted to get that out there. I wanted to put it out there in the ether that it chapped my ass, and
Well, it's out there, brother. I did the story I shared. I've never talked about publicly, so mine's out there now too. Like it's my guy
yeah,
Danny. Like I don't have any animosity toward him. It's just that those are just the facts of the matter, and and I was in a certain headspace at that time. I could give two shits now. It's like now I'm going now I'm going to make it a focus to where my show is mine and I have people on as guests, but I don't like put the obligation on anybody else to like be a partner in any measure, because
yeah,
if they're not going to sign up for it, I'm not going to put that on their plate. So lesson learned.
yeah. Well, I'm not saying like they're dead to me because that's silly.
Yeah, I didn't cancel them. I didn't cancel them.
Yeah, like it's like okay. I mean, I still wish you the best. Like this dude is an incredible bodybuilder who is going to end up doing some really cool things.
Yeah,
So I mean, it'll be fun to watch. But I know where I stand with this guy now, and it wasn't where I thought it was.
yeah.
So hey man, best of luck to you. I wish you nothing but the best. Just I'm not gonna fuck with you anymore.
There it is. Well, sir,
Grown man shit. Grown man
you're
shit.
right. Yeah,
Yeah, I got a sleeping Ruth in my bed that I got to move,
we are at
and
90,
dogs to let in.
95 minutes, sir. So we've been going. Yes. So let's give one last look.
Thanks for coming, Paul.
I hate the fact now that he's when he's not here. It looks like a deceased picture.
Yeah, well, see, and this is obviously a either a long haired very Farrah Fawcettly hippie man, or definitely a lady's silhouette.
Oh, you're talking about the background. Yeah, no, I didn't choose the background. That's the default for number 2, so it looks different from number 1.
Yep.
So let's not
Either way.
let's not pretend that Paul couldn't pull that off.
I'm actually. Hey, can you go back that real quick?
Take
Yeah, here. I'm gonna take a screenshot of
a
that real
screenshot
quick.
of it, yes.
And I'll put a post up later about Paul made some really great points
Oh
yesterday.
man, Paul dropping knowledge tonight.
Just on fire. Best podcast he's ever done.
Damn, stop. Okay, all right, yeah, it's time to get off here.
Yep. Thank you for listening to the Silver Swole podcast, everybody. Once again, I'm Jake Howard.
Oh, I don't have my thing up. Where's it at? Can you see it? Nope, I don't know what the name is. The Grand
I see
Chameleon.
you.
The Grand Chameleon was supposed to be down there. It's not. It's cool.
Nope. Is it under the surfboard?
Yes, it's under the surfboard.
Oh,
I'm gonna work on the design a little bit more, but this is just a template to go from. Spruce it up a little bit.
I dig it, dude.
We'll see what the reaction.
Changing things up.
Are you the 2 people watching this right now?
Yeah. So here, when I'm on my phone,
This
I can
algorithm
pull
is
it
about
up.
to go crazy.
It's just about to.
Algorithm's about to go
But
nuts.
so we had a third viewer. Wasn't here too long,
Oh,
but their username is Extra More, MOAR, Extra MOAR. So thanks for dropping in there, Extra More. You're great.
and with that, Warhorse.
Hey, it's Warhorse. Do you want your workouts to look like this? Or do you want your workouts to slay? When Warhorse picks his pre-workout, he wants it to slay. If you want second place, go with somebody else. If you want to be a champion, go with Royalty Nutrition.
There it is.